Over the last 4 years, I have worked with over 100 plus agencies, scaled $135 million worth of pipeline for them, and built 1.4 million of closed revenue from myself off the back of LinkedIn. I want to talk to you about scaling go-to-market. This is the only B2B go-to-market tech stack I use after all of that. Not the bloated top 30 tools, the list that you see plastered all over LinkedIn infographics. Now, all it is 5 layers, a handful of tools, and one team of 10 producing what used to take me 20 employees to do this. Now, before we get into it, each layer of this stack is going to get its own deep dive video in the coming weeks. If you don't want to miss out on those, hit subscribe. Right, let's get into it. So the old way is dead. The SDR army model where you used to be able to throw reps at a problem is gone. The founder watching this is probably running the old playbook, right? You've hired 3 SDRs, maybe even a go-to-market engineer, maybe even an AE on top. Headcount is up, payroll is up, but the pipeline hasn't moved. Now, the reason is it's about the structure, not the people. And the old playbook looks like this: an AE on the top, a couple of SDIs underneath them, feeding them pipeline upwards, headcount heavy, linear, expensive, and every extra dollar of pipeline costs you another rep, another desk, and another month of ramp. Now, there is a better way of going through this. The new structure that I'm proposing flips this, and instead of an AE sitting on top of an SDR army, you get a go-to-market engineer who can spin up multiple AI agents that do the work of those SDRs, and it all feeds into one central rep at the top, lower headcount, higher pipeline, and a much cleaner profit and loss sheet. And across our clients, the same model is how we've helped them to scale 135 million worth of pipeline collectively. Now, we used a lot of different tools and not all of them work. Now, we found from testing that there were 3 fundamental principles that essentially determined how successful the stack was going to be in the first place after we tried so many things. And if you get these wrong, the tools that you're using probably won't work for you. Principle number 1, AI agents. An AI agent is essentially a markdown file with context. It's a list of instructions stored in a text file that runs inside something like Claude Code. And what it isn't, it's not a magic robot. It's not a replacement for an operator. It's not a finished product out of the box. Where it goes in your stack, it should be behind every layer, and each one is doing a structured job repeatedly faster than a human. Principle number 2, signal-powered workflows. A signal is something that's happening in a prospect's business that makes them more likely to want to buy from you right now. And examples could be, a marketing manager being hired, a funding round, a company posting about adopting a specific tool. But the real lever here is when you stack signals together and intent compounds. One signal is a maybe, 3 signals is potentially a buyer. Now, signal powered means you stop reaching out to lists and start outreaching to consumer behavior. Principle number 3, human-led expertise. This is all about having an operator running the strategy and the conversations, an AI in the workflow, and human at the wheel. And well, here's what it isn't. The full automation that AI native agency crowd is selling at the moment, automate your entire agency, automate your entire GTM stack. Here's why that matters. Fully automated GTM bombs your total addressable target market and produces slop that damages your brand. Here's the 5-layer stack. Each layer answers one job. If a tool doesn't have a job, it doesn't go into the stack. Layer number 1, you need data. We use Apify for this. This is a scraping platform that pulls structured data from LinkedIn and the wider web. It replaces Phantom Buster for manual scraping. It replaces random Chrome extensions, and we use it to scrape LinkedIn intent, likes, comments, views, connections, scrape post engagers, scrape companies posting about tool adoption maybe, or even scrape companies hiring for relevant roles. So if you can think of a signal, Apify can probably handle that. Now, the dumbest thing I see founders doing is, they try to compile leads themselves in a spreadsheet. They burn 4 hours a week on something like Apify that does this in 5 minutes. Next, we use Prospio. We use this for email enrichment to turn names and companies into verified emails. And it replaces, Hunter, Apollo, manual email guessing, and we plug in a lead list flow into Clay, and every prospect that lands in our list gets a verified email attached automatically. Layer number 2, list building. We use Clay, and this is a signal pulling and lead enrichment platform that pulls live data on companies and contacts and running waterfall enrichments to trigger outreach flows. And what this replacement is Sales Navigator, right? And it allows us to narrow lists from 10 separate research tools into one tool. You can get 1,000 times better lead list out of Clay than you can from Sales Nav. because you can actually control a much narrower set of parameters to get that lead list. So Clay is the workhorse layer of the two, right? It is the live data, the signals, all of that enrichment in one place. And if we took Clay away tomorrow, the cost of replacing it would probably be a full-time researcher's or GTM salary. Next, Claude Code. We use this for ideal client persona filtering at scale. It replaces hours of manual QA, checking those lists, junior reps scoring 1,000 raw lead lists. We've got a Claude Code set up for ourselves, and one for every client, one tuned to the specific ideal client persona that filters 1,000 raw lists, scores fit, surfaces those 3 to 500 dream accounts with the right sort of intent, and then a human QA check always. Layer number 3, outreach. We use multi-channel outreach with signal-based workflows on LinkedIn and email, and this replaces a junior SDR running those cadences manually. Here's how we use it. Likes, comments, views, and connections get compiled into a warm engagement list on Valley, which keeps following up. The inbox manager picks it up from there and books the meeting. Next, Instantly AI. This is a cold email infrastructure plus inbox hosting. Then this replaces disparate email tools and inboxes that get blacklisted. And we use it for 2 separate jobs. Nurture sequences for LinkedIn leads that scrape via Appify and cold email at volume, sending 20,000 emails roughly a month through at the moment. This is mainly a top of funnel play with lead magnets dropped into Instantly and starting that conversation with value and not a pitch. Layer number 4. Messaging and pipeline. We use Claude Cowork, and this is all about custom messaging agents for sales conversations. And here's what that replaces: the founder being stuck in the DMs personally, and we use it to build and designate by prospect archetype, and the agent shows the archetype's pain and language and the objections for every specific archetype they would speak to, so every conversation is personalized. Now, the founder is able to get out of the DMs this way without quality dropping, and us remaining to be an expert because it's based on their expertise rather than, somebody having to learn all of this. Next, Condo. This is a LinkedIn pipeline manager, and this is what it replaces: sticky notes, missing follow-ups, deals that go cold, missed deals in the LinkedIn DMs. It tells us where every prospect is in the funnel and the opening, qualifying, meeting suggested, meeting booked. Layer number 5, warm cooler conversion. We use Trellis for this. So this is a cold cooling parallel dialer for our cold cooler, and it replaces random outbound calling where they would have to, call one number at a time, but this will call multiple numbers at a time and see who picks up. We work with Clay Table to call prospects who've already shown interest, and we verified their contact data already using Better Contact. And this is how we're booking 40 meetings a month from one LinkedIn profile. Because most agencies stop at the LinkedIn DM, we're taking that warm signal and turning it into a multi-channel approach to land that meeting. Tools are leverage, right? They're not the essence, a strategy by themselves. Start with the buyer, not the stack. Days 1 to 30 is all about validating your ICP on LinkedIn manually. Send 20 to 30 messages a day yourself. Get real responses from real people. And if your inbox is filling up with tell me more, you got, message market fit at the message level. Days 31 to 60. Build out layer 1 and layer 2. Appify, Prospero, Claude, Clay. Get the data and the list building infrastructure working at small scale. Day 61 to 90 are all about adding the outreach, messaging, and pipeline layers. Valley, Instantly, Claude Cowork, Condo. Now, where do I see this headed? My honest read on what happens next is most of these tools will probably consolidate. You'll see 2 or 3 of these platforms try to swallow the whole stack. They'll acquire each other, and that's probably maybe a year out or maybe 2. Now, the human element will probably drop out at some stage in the future, at some of these stages, but not all of them. Now, for now, every single layer of this stack still has somebody QAing the out, because that's what stops this from turning into AI slop, right? And as the models get better, that QA layer gets thinner. It doesn't disappear. So if you got something from this, do one favor for me. Subscribe. The next videos in the series go deep on each of these individual layers. And if you want to walk through how we build this out for you in your specific business, click the link in the bio to go and get a 90-day plan for work so you know exactly how to generate anywhere from between $500 to $1 million in pipeline a month for the next 90 days from LinkedIn.